Maid found a hidden room in P. Diddy's mansion. Then she quit the next day. The silence that filled the hallway was deafening, broken only by the gentle hum of the air conditioning system that kept P. Diddy's Holmby Hills mansion at a perfect 68 degrees year-round. But for Elena Vasquez, something about that silence felt wrong, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath, concealing secrets too dark to whisper even in the emptiest of rooms. Elena had been working as head housekeeper at the music mogul's $40 million Los Angeles estate for just under 3 years. She'd seen celebrities come and go, had cleaned up after parties that lasted until dawn, had signed countless NDAs. But nothing had prepared her for what she would discover on that unusually foggy Tuesday morning in March. "I always knew there was something off about the East Wing," Elena later told her sister over a cup of coffee, her hands still trembling days after she'd quit. "The measurements didn't add up. I clean mansions for a living, I noticed these things." The mansion's East Wing housed P. Diddy's private quarters, strictly off limits to staff unless specifically instructed to clean or deliver items. That morning, Elena had been asked to replace some towels in the main bathroom adjacent to the master bedroom. The fog outside seemed to seep into the house itself, casting unusual shadows across the marble floors. As she walked down the long corridor, arms loaded with Egyptian cotton towels, she noticed something she'd somehow missed during her 3 years of employment. A slight discoloration on the wood-paneled wall, about 6 feet high, barely visible unless the light hit it just right. "I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't dropped one of the towels," Elena recalled. "When I bent down to pick it up, the sunlight came through the window at this weird angle, and there it was, this rectangular outline on what should have been a solid wall." Curiosity got the better of her. Setting down the towels on a nearby console table, Elena ran her fingers along the edge of the discoloration. To her surprise, she felt a slight give in what appeared to be solid wood paneling. "It was like something from a movie," she whispered. "I pressed harder and I heard this soft click. The panel slid open an inch, revealing darkness beyond." Elena froze, heart pounding in her chest. She knew she should close it immediately. She knew she should walk away, finish her tasks, and forget what she'd found. P. Diddy valued his privacy above all else. It was written into her contract. But something compelled her forward, a mixture of curiosity and an inexplicable sense of dread. With a deep breath, she pushed the panel further and found herself staring into a small room, approximately 10 by 12 feet, illuminated only by the light spilling in from the hallway. "The smell hit me first," she later said. "Not bad exactly, but chemical. Like cleaning supplies, but stronger. Industrial." Elena fumbled for a light switch, her fingers eventually finding one just inside the doorway. A single recessed light flickered to life in the ceiling, revealing a space that seemed designed for utility rather than comfort. The walls were soundproofed with black acoustic foam. A metal table stood in the center, bolted to the floor. Around it, shelves lined the walls holding an assortment of items that at first glance seemed innocuous enough. Recording equipment, cameras on tripods, lighting rigs. "I thought maybe it was some kind of home studio," Elena said. "But there was no microphone, no instruments, nothing you'd expect in a music producer's recording space." What sent a chill down her spine were the details. The drain in the center of the concrete floor. The heavy-duty plastic sheets folded neatly on a shelf. The industrial-grade cleaning supplies, far stronger than anything she was allowed to use in the rest of the house. And most disturbing of all, the restraints attached to the table, professional-grade padded leather cuffs. Elena backed away, her heart hammering against her ribs. This wasn't a recording studio. This wasn't a photography space. This was something else entirely. As she moved backward, her elbow knocked against a shelf, sending a small black notebook tumbling to the floor. It fell open, revealing pages of handwritten notes, dates, times, initials. "I shouldn't have picked it up," Elena admitted later, tears welling in her eyes. "But I did. And I read enough to know that whatever happened in that room, it wasn't legal. It wasn't right." The discovery triggered a memory that Elena had nearly forgotten. 18 months earlier, during one of P. Diddy's infamous white parties, she had been working late, refreshing drink stations and discreetly cleaning up after guests. There was. This girl, Elena remembered, her voice barely above a whisper. Young, maybe 21, 22, beautiful. She seemed out of it, not just drunk, something else. P. Diddy had his arm around her waist, guiding her down that same hallway. At the time, Elena had thought nothing of it. Celebrities and their guests often disappeared into private areas of the mansion. It wasn't her place to question or notice. But now, looking back, I remember how she looked at me, Elena continued, a single tear rolling down her cheek. There was fear in her eyes. She mouthed something. I thought she was asking where the bathroom was. Now I wonder if she was trying to ask for help. The next morning, Elena had found a gold earring on the floor of that hallway, an expensive piece with a small diamond. She had placed it in the lost and found box as per protocol. No one ever claimed it. 2 days later, I overheard him on the phone, Elena said. He was angry, telling someone that she better not talk and that everyone signs the NDAs for a reason. I assumed it was business, music industry stuff. Now I don't know what to think. Standing in that hidden room, notebook in hand, Elena made the decision that would change her life. She carefully placed the notebook back exactly where it had fallen, took out her phone, and snapped 3 quick photos of the room. Then she backed out, closed the panel until she heard it click, and picked up the towels she had left in the hallway. With hands that wouldn't stop shaking, she finished her tasks for the day, making sure everything appeared normal. When her shift ended at 4 p.m., she walked to her car with measured steps, fighting the urge to run. I didn't sleep that night, she confessed. I kept seeing that room, thinking about that girl from the party, wondering how many others there might have been. The next morning, Elena arrived at the mansion at her usual time, 7 a.m. sharp. She went straight to Mr. Combs's personal assistant and handed in her resignation letter, citing a family emergency that required her immediate return to her hometown in Arizona. He offered to double my salary, Elena said, still bewildered by the memory. When I insisted I had to leave, his entire demeanor changed. He asked if I'd been in any areas of the house where I wasn't authorized to be. Asked if I'd seen anything unusual during my employment. Her blood ran cold, but years of maintaining a professional poker face in the homes of the wealthy and powerful served her well. She assured him she had always respected the house rules and had seen nothing out of the ordinary. I could tell he didn't believe me, she said. But what could he do? Force me to stay? The assistant informed her that she would need to sign additional confidentiality paperwork before receiving her final paycheck. Elena agreed, knowing that refusing would only raise suspicions. I signed whatever they put in front of me, she said. I just wanted out of there. 3 days after leaving her position, Elena received a text message from an unknown number. We know what you saw. Discretion is rewarded. Indiscretion has consequences. The following day, she noticed a black Escalade parked across the street from her apartment. It remained there for 8 hours before driving away, only to return the next morning. That's when I really got scared, Elena admitted. I packed a bag and went to stay with my sister in San Diego. I left my phone behind. I'd watched enough movies to know they could track me with it. For weeks, Elena jumped at every sound, convinced that P. Diddy's security team was coming for her. She considered going to the police with her story and the photos she'd taken, but fear held her back. Who would believe me? She asked rhetorically. A housekeeper against one of the most powerful men in entertainment? And what proof did I have? Really? A room that could be explained away as a private security measure or recording space? Photos that I technically had no right to take while employed in his home? The injustice of her situation weighed heavily on her. She had witnessed something deeply troubling, perhaps evidence of serious crimes, but felt powerless to do anything about it. The rich and famous, they live by different rules, she said bitterly. They think they can do anything, hide anything, and never face consequences. Everything changed when Elena saw the news 2 months later. A young aspiring singer had filed a lawsuit against P. Diddy, alleging that she had been drugged and assaulted in his home during a private audition. The details she described, a room with soundproofed walls, a metal table, recording equipment that was never used for actual recording, sent chills down Elena's spine. It was her, Elena realized. The girl from the party, the one who looked at me with those terrified eyes. With trembling hands, Elena reached out to the lawyer representing the singer. She described what she had seen, the room she had discovered, and offered the photos as evidence. The lawyer warned me that coming forward would change my life forever, Elena said. That I would be painted as an opportunist, a liar, or worse. But how could I stay silent knowing what I knew? 2 days later, Elena gave a sworn statement to investigators. Within a week, a search warrant was executed at P. Diddy's mansion. The hidden room was found exactly as Elena had described it. I later learned that they tried to clean it out before the police arrived, Elena said, but they didn't have enough time. The evidence was still there. Elena's decision to come forward came at a steep personal cost. As predicted, P. Diddy's legal team portrayed her as a disgruntled former employee attempting to extort money. Media, outlets sympathetic to the music mogul, published stories questioning her character and motives. They found out I had been behind on rent once 3 years ago, and suddenly I was described as financially desperate, Elena said with a hollow laugh. They discovered I'd once dreamed of being a singer myself, so clearly I was jealous and seeking attention. She received death threats from fans who refused to believe the allegations against their idol. She lost friends who didn't want to be associated with the controversy. For a while, she couldn't find work. No wealthy family wanted to hire a housekeeper known for betraying her former employer. There were days I regretted ever looking at that wall too closely, she admitted. Days I wished I'd just kept my head down, done my job, and walked away. But then came the letters. Dozens of them from women with similar stories about P. Diddy and other powerful men in the industry. Women who had been silenced by NDAs, by threats, by fear. Women who saw in Elena someone who had finally spoken the truth, regardless of the consequences. That's when I knew I'd done the right thing, Elena said, a quiet strength in her voice now. No matter what it cost me personally. 6 months after Elena's discovery, the legal case against P. Diddy continued to build. More women came forward. Former employees corroborated parts of Elena's story. Evidence mounted. Elena herself had started rebuilding her life. A non-profit organization dedicated to supporting survivors of assault helped her find housing and a new job. She began speaking at events, telling her story to encourage others to speak their truth. I'm not the same person I was before I found that room, Elena reflected. I'm stronger in some ways, more fragile in others. But I know now that one person's courage can make a difference. She paused, looking down at her hands. The hands that had cleaned mansions, that had pushed open a hidden panel, that had held a phone to capture evidence of something terrible. People think housekeepers are invisible, she said softly. That's what the wealthy count on, that will clean their messes and keep their secrets because we need the paycheck. But we see everything, and sometimes seeing means you have a responsibility to speak up, no matter how scared you are. The investigation into P. Diddy's activities continues to this day. Elena doesn't know how it will end, whether justice will truly be served or if wealth and power will once again shield the guilty. But she knows that by finding that hidden room, and by finding the courage to tell what she saw, she changed the course of many lives, including her own. Sometimes I still have nightmares about that room, Elena admitted. About what might have happened there. But then I remember the letters from those women, thanking me for coming forward. And I know that some truths, no matter how dangerous, need to be spoken. She smiled then, a small but genuine smile of someone who has walked through darkness and found her way back to light. The rich and powerful don't always win, she said firmly. Sometimes, all it takes is one person brave enough to say, "This is what I saw, this is the truth." And that can change everything. If this story shocked you, subscribe, because the next one is even more incredible.